Hello, we all here? Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second day of the 2022 Women in Lutherie International Conference. Thank you for joining us. We had an excellent day yesterday, excellent talks, a brilliant panel. We even had a guest appearance by a bear strolling outside the window of one of the speakers. So we plan to keep the excitement rolling today. And we now give you the 2022 International Women in Lutherie Fellowship Report. Anna Jacqueline and Sara Cohen-Sanchez, two of the fellows, will share individual stories of the women from the fellowship and their collective journey through this extraordinary community effort to create a new annual platform for collaborative mentorship, internship, and leadership growth opportunities for women around the globe. I now hand you over to Anna.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. All right, Sara, I think you can start.
Okay. Well, here's our presentation on what we've been up to this summer. We've, well, actually, it's been 11 group of us, 11 pairs. We've been doing a fellowship the same way it was done last year, but luckily this year we got to travel because not as many COVID restrictions. So this fellowship was started in 2021 by Jennifer and Jeetman as a way to help new luthiers learn in a safe environment, which is honestly a problem for most of us anyway. So each fellow is paired with a mentor according to their interests and their mobility possibilities, because obviously I went to the States, but I have citizenship, so I can actually go without, having to deal with visas and ESTAs and all of that. So during the fellowship, we met online with mentors and mentees. We were doing, I think we did 4 meetings throughout the summer, and we just explored our self-confidence, our self-value, and talked about our experiences in the field. And we then had a 2-week internship with our respective mentors. And luckily, everyone was able to travel, and we've had some really cool experiences. So we'll show you what we've been up to in the next slides. Take it away, Anna.
All right. Michelle, could you change to the next slide, please? And the next slide, because we will start with Camille and Tanya's story. All right. Camille Pebost from France visited Tanya Hidde in her Berlin workshop, where Camille worked on finishing a violin. She started at her school, and here in the photo you can see her setting the neck at the moment. Also, Tanya and her worked on some restoration projects, mostly on doing some varnish retouch. I hope they had a great time together. Looks like it. All right, the next slide, please, for Amber. Amber van Hesche from Belgium visited Renate Fink's workshop in Oosterwijk in Germany, where she learned all about doing setup on violin family instruments, from fitting pegs to making a fingerboard to setting the sound post to bridge cutting and fitting end pins. It seems they covered about everything. In the next slide, we can see a short video of some impressions Amber had in Germany. Thank you.
I love that moment when she's like, "Is that straight?" I think that we all feel like that's what we do when we're looking at a cello. And
perfect look, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was Amber's story. Then we can move on to Natasha and Elizabeth. Nice music. Cool. Natasha Seeley-Worrell is a bowmaker from Trinidad and Tobago, and she visited Elizabeth Schack in her workshop in Philadelphia, which is called Mount Airy Violins and Bows. Here we can see them enjoying, in the middle picture, concert at the park. And on the left, you can see Natasha feeling the chilly Philly July, which only had 72 degrees in Philadelphia, which is about 22 degrees Celsius for everyone who doesn't use Fahrenheit. And I think they had a good time together, and I hope they also got up to do some work in the workshop, but I think they did. All right, let's move on to my experience. This is me with Paris Andrew, a British violin maker who is now having a workshop in Florence in Italy, which sure confused some people when I told them about my experience as to where I was actually going. But yes, it was in Italy. And I got to bring my Steiner Baroque violin, which I started, and I managed to close the box during my 2-week internship, which I'm quite proud of. And in the video, you can see me very, very confidently hammering in nail in the neck joint, which is a quite risky procedure.
Good way. Chicken, 2. Get the wire off. There we go. Hammer.
Yay. Yeah, we managed it. Also, we managed to take a day trip to Tremona to see the museum and also to meet some more amazing Women in Lutherie people. Thank you, Paris, for this amazing experience. All right, let's move on to Nina. Nina Potts from Scotland visited the States for the first time to go see Hawaiian luthier Melanahe Martin at her workshop in Baltimore. Even though they both contracted COVID during Nina's stay, they both managed to get a lot of work done and enjoy themselves, especially with the puppy. All right, next is Federica. Take it away, Sara.
So Italian Federica Pinelli visited Canadian-born, Italian-adopted, and Irish descent Kathleen Thomas in her workshop in Perugia, where she started making a new violin, and by the looks of it, having a ton of fun. Okay, next slide, please. Michelle? Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is my experience. I'm a US and Spanish restorer, and I got to hang around with everyone at Potter Violins for a couple of weeks, mostly annoying Rollin Sullivan and all of her colleagues, but I compensated by bringing sweets, so they forgave me. And while not eating, I managed to fit a bass bar over cleats on a Re-thickness cello, and we actually got to go for free to a Rage Against the Machine concert, which was really cool. And as long as I was there, I decided, why not hop on a train and go and visit New York with MJ and G-Man. So I spent a couple of days with them, just hanging out and talking about things I will not mention here. Never mind. And thank you everyone for, dealing with me for a week or two, depending on whose case. But yeah, thank you everyone who saw me during that period of time. Can we go to the next slide, please? So Goetze traveled all the way from Mexico to visit Spain to see German violin maker Ruth Overmeyer in her Granada workshop. While she was there, they traveled, having Sophia Johnston Suarez in the back seat, to Villefranche in France to a course on acoustics held by Claudia Fritz, where they hung out with MJ Kwan, and Goetze attempted to teach her how to dance. There's a very cute picture on Facebook, but I couldn't find it. And next slide, please. Oh yeah, here we go, more guitar stuff. So Spanish and UK guitar maker Sophia Johnston Suarez, also known as Chicken and Chicken Dinner, went to Lanjarón, Spain to visit Spanish guitar maker Ana Espinosa. She was able to visit with Ruth Overmeyer and Goetze as well as enjoying spectacular views and a very lovely pool. Okay, can we go to the next, please? There we go. So US ethnomusicologist Hilary Brady Morris was able to hang out with violin maker MJ Kwan in New York City this summer, working on the basics of violin making. They took the time as well to visit the Met's exhibition of traditional instruments, and that's a picture with Jimin as well. So they all went together. Next slide, please. There we go. So Mexican guitar maker Maria Jose Pelea Aguirre visited Lynn Hardy in Woodstock for a few weeks of very intense guitar work and a lot of workshop shenanigans. She also collaborated with Mamie Minch in a ukulele project built a ukulele making program for young girls during her stay in the US, which was very cool. So what did we learn during this experience? I mean, my experience was really positive. I was in a very fun and safe environment, so that was really cool. I got to experience life in a bigger workshop. I'm usually not used to that. I usually work with one or two people, and it's been wonderful, and working with more people has also been wonderful. And even though we had some setbacks, both Robin and the head of the workshop had COVID. So one had COVID 1 week and the next one had COVID the next week. You know, I got to meet so many people and learn so much. So it was really positive for me. And it was an amazing opportunity to meet so many women luthiers. And, you know, I've heard so much about everyone through this group. It's just, it feels like I already know you and then I meet you in person. It's like, wow. So yeah, thank you so much to Jimin and Jennifer for creating this space and this opportunity for us. It's been truly amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so just, yeah, for me also, this participating in this program was such an intense eye-opener for me, and what could be possible in the future regarding community in this career and in this lutherie world. Because I'm a lutherie student just starting out, and I'm not having a lot of connections yet, and I don't know really where to start to build a career. But with this program and with these connections formed, I think I feel like there's a place for me here, and I can make connections. I can learn. I can meet people who want to share their knowledge, and I feel like so much more confident in starting in this field and in going forward into the future. And I also wanted to thank Jimin and Jennifer for founding this fellowship and for this program. To thank Paris for our amazing time in the Florence workshop, for making these opportunities, also for connecting me with other people for our Cremona trip, which was really all the other people working so hard to bring this community together, and for organizing this conference, and yeah, for just being these awesome women and awesome luthiers that they are. And I think also what we have to say is that we have to thank Jimin to learn to not say sorry, which I always practice now in my real life world also, and which is an amazing life skill, I think. So all right, I think that's our presentation for the 2022 fellowship. Sara, do you have anything to add?
I mean, I think we've said it all. If anyone has any questions about it, please put them in the Q&A box so we can find them and they don't get lost in the chat.
Yeah, thank you so much for everyone. And yeah, this was our presentation. I hope you learned something about us, and yeah, we had a great
sorry. Yeah, there's someone asked, I think we'd like some info about how people can get involved next year. Well, I mean, I was sent the information from a friend whenever it was posted. It's posted on the website, and it's usually posted on the Facebook group as well. Oh, and the Instagram.
Instagram is really good to get infos, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was sent the information by a friend who was like, oh, you definitely need to check this out. You need to apply right now.
There's also a website you can visit. It's just womeninlutherie.org, I think, where there's also the information being posted. But yeah, Facebook is more updates, and Instagram, I think, yeah.
Hi, just jumping in. It's Jimin. Yeah, the information about getting involved next year, because this is our second year, we started trying to make it more public and trying to create more information to get out there. What we would like to shoot for next year is that we trying to get the open call out for people. We started an open call this year, but it was still within the community. And next year we will try to do a little bit wider net, cast a little wider net if we can. And probably around probably January next year, we will probably start opening up. Did we open up in February this year? Do you guys remember?
I think it might be earlier.
That was earlier, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it was January this year.
I think so.
Okay. So yeah, I think
Maybe it was like late January, early February. I don't really
okay. Yeah. So I think for next year, maybe starting mid-January, probably get the word out. Usually we'd like to close the entrance and make the announcement by March. I think it's March is Women's History Month. So that we can make the announcement in March, and then we start in May. So the program will run between mid-May to May, June, July, mid-August. Is that right? Does that sound right? Yes. I'm trying to do math. Yes. So for keep an eye out. We will make announcements on the website and the Facebook page and Instagram when we open this up next year. And also for those who are already in the community, either on the Facebook private group and or the Zoom socials, will also get the email and the announcement within the community as well. So hope that answers the question. Thank you. Hi, Anna. I don't think we've actually met in person, but just from the group meetings, I feel like I know everyone.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like that, doesn't it?
True. Yeah.
Awesome.
We have one more question.
Yeah.
And Jimin, I think you'd be perfect to answer it as well. It's from Ava Slonik, and it says, I am not a new theory student anymore, but already finished training. May I still apply? Oh, that's a really good question. We have the cap at if you have less than 7 years of experience at the bench, you can apply. It's not a cut and clear rule because it depends. I think a lot of things that we do at Women in Lutherie, because of the nature of how this career works differently for women and intersectionally for women who often have to either start the training and end up taking a long break, or end up leaving the field because of the family stuff, have to take care of the family or this or that. And then we also have the issue of, which is why this fellowship is a really important issue, of women not feeling comfortable and welcomed in the field. So a lot of people end up leaving. But we also want to make sure people who do want to come back have the opportunity. So if there is a gap in the training at the bench, we would like to take that into account. So even if you started, they say 9 years ago, but there's been some gap times where you feel like you still want to get that training. I think we kind of try to look at everything, so not cut and hard rule. Mainly the fellowship was created to cater to the younger, more up and coming people that are entering
the career is what we're trying to aim for. And there in the future, we do have a plan, and Jennifer and I talked about, and I know we have talked about it a lot in the community. People are definitely already kind of doing this among themselves, is to create like a peer-to-peer sort of a mentorship program as well. So it's for people who have maybe different backgrounds, training, and want to kind of visit each other and learn from each other and do more peer-to-peer thing. Fellowship is specifically for people who are trying to get started and just need like a little extra, like, you know, hands from other women, like, hey, yeah, this is what we've been doing. Come join us, and, you know, keep networking and moving up.
If I can just jump in for a second, I think that the Women in Lutherie Facebook group is also a great place to ask for help, I think, and also for kind of internship opportunities. If you just want to visit someone's workshop, or just to lower this kind of threshold to be not scared to go to people and ask for help, I think that's a very nice place to go for that, and to just learn to not be scared to make the connections. That's what I learned, at least.
Yes.
Can people who aren't students of Lutherie apply? So amateurs or people who are really passionate about Lutherie?
Yes. So it's really, even though we do call it professional development, because there, again, with women, there tend to be sometimes a little bit of blurred line between where like the passion, hobby / career work, there sometimes that gets blurred. A lot of times that gets blurred because of often women having to deal with breaks in their career and a career at the bench. So when I say career, I suppose what I'm saying is career at the bench, your experience at the workbench. So I do remember, I am aware that this year, Federica, she's a full-time, I think she's a full-time, I think she does something to do with post office. I'm sorry, Federica, if I don't know what it is. And she's been working as a weekend warrior, learning the Lutherie, and she's been doing it for many, many years, and really working with other professional Luthiers and really getting it, to the point where she wants to, get better training and get better. So yeah, again, we want to be open to any possibility of women being able to have access to being at the workbench and have that joy of being at the workbench in the field of Lutherie. So I hope that answers the question.
Federica confirms she is, in fact, a post office manager.
Yay!
Oh, there's another question.
Thank you for delivering our important mails.
Okay, there's a question here. From your experience, do you think there is anything that would be useful to mention about the fellowship? If so, can you ask it as a question, please? I don't understand what the ask about it as a question. Sorry.
This is from our perspective as fellows, I think.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that what's useful is keep an open mind, and don't because you're there to learn. So it does get a little hard when, for me, for example, I've been working for a couple of years out of school, so I'm not set in my ways yet, luckily, but it is hard when you've been taught something to kind of remember that there's other ways of doing things. So for me, that was one of the most important things, is just keep an open mind, talk to people, and yeah, just go a little bit with the flow. Don't stress out too much, because I tend to stress out a bit too much.
And also, I think I want to add to also enjoy yourself, not just go working, because I think I had a bit of a problem because I was so motivated and I was like, I can work in the workshop now and I want to finish this violin and da 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 da. But also it's important to take your time and to take your time off and to just go and enjoy yourself and have this balance of work and fun. I think that's also important.
Yeah,
And
that
not
is
just
true.
stress yourself till your career is, I don't know, going somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been accused of never leaving the workshop before.
Yeah.
I just saw, I just saw somebody mentioned lowering the threshold, and I do really love that phrase. I think it's, creating more access, lowering the threshold, breaking down the gatekeeping. And little plug in, we're going to be talking about a lot of this at the Equity Work in Music and Craft Spaces panel discussion tomorrow. It's what I think we see a lot in the typically male-dominated industries, where other people that are being othered don't have access to the information, or just access to the space, being in the space, getting into the spaces. And that's, I think, really important to create more and more of that for ourselves. Yeah, and so thank you. I want to thank all of the fellows and mentors who graciously opened their homes and their brothers' homes and their friends' homes and workshops to host the fellows, to show that, yes, it can be done. We can work together. We can create the joy together in our own ways, at the bench, in the field of Lutherie, in any all instruments in Lutherie. So thank you everyone so much.
We have 3 more minutes, but also 1 more question. So we covered the almost not strict cutoff rate of when someone can apply as a fellow, but is there a minimum experience? That's the question that's coming up.
Sorry, I just saw sofas in the workshop are the best, and yes. I'm sorry. Again, what was the question? Sorry. Okay, this is
What's the minimum threshold for applying?
Is there a minimum level of experience that is required?
Yes. So I think I briefly mentioned. So we have under 7 years of experience at the workbench. So
the minimum, like
minimum.
How much experience do you have to have?
I see. As to apply as a fellow, is that right? We would like. I think we would like to try to find people who are at the beginning of entering the field, entering the career. So, if you are, let's say, if you're still going to like a Lutherie school, if you have just started, or still, most of the fellows have already finished their formal training, and I say this in a parenthesis, quotation mark, because what does a formal training mean in our field? We don't, it's not clear. So either if you went to a Lutherie school, either after you graduate, as you're graduating maybe, or if you just started training at, working professionally in the field, perhaps 3-4 years, perhaps. I'm kind of guesstimating, because again, like I said, everyone's different and everyone's journey is different in the field, for women, depending on how much training you got initially and how much time you were actually able to access at the bench. It's I'm thinking specifically of a lot of people who reached out to me and said, well, I've been we're learning at the bench for this many years, but these men don't want to teach me stuff. and I personally have had that experience where they don't feel that I'm worthy of being trained, and they would keep information or wouldn't tell me things. So it really depends. So hope that answered your question in a somewhat unclear way. So if you're unsure, please feel free to apply, and please feel free to reach out to me, any of us, any of the people in the fellowship, in the awards ceremony happening next. All the fellows and the mentors will be honored and recognized, and hopefully you'll have chance to, get on the chat and maybe start conversation with any of us. And please just, let's just chat, get to know each other.
Thank you, G-Man. And you finished answering the question exactly on time. Well, thank you, ladies, for the wonderful presentation that you've given. That was such a joy to watch, and thank you for answering all the questions. We now have a short break for 5 minutes before we come back to the Women in Lutherie Awards.
Thank you so much, Jasmine.
Oh, my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.